Hello students, in this lesson we're going to work on solving equations by using elimination, and our directions are to solve each system by elimination and then check the solution in both the original equations. So here we have in number 1, 8x minus 6y equals negative 24, and a negative 8x plus y equals 24. Now, the idea of elimination is that we're going to eliminate one of the variables so that we can solve for the other variable. Then once we solve for that variable, we plug it back into the equation, solve for the other, and then we have a solution. We'll take both numbers, what is x, what is y, and plug them back in to both equations to see if that works out. So in this number 1 equation, we can see that we have two numbers and variables that are the same. We have 8x and minus 8x. So in order to eliminate these, because one is positive and one is negative, all we have to do is add those two together. So when we add these two together, we have to add everything else in the equation. So 8x plus a negative 8x is going to be 0. Negative 6y plus a y will be minus 5y. And negative 24 plus a positive 24 is also going to be a 0. So we know that we can bring minus 5y down. And we also know that when it's equal to 0 and we divide on both sides by negative 5, we're going to end up with y equaling 0. So we have y as part of our solution. So now let's take what y is equal to and let's plug it back in. We can use either equation. I'm going to use the top one. So we have 8x minus 6y. But instead of putting y, I'm going to put what y is equal to. So I'm going to put 6y, which would be negative 6 times 0. Negative 6 times y is the same as negative 6 times what y is equal to. So that's going to be equal to negative 24. Now as we look at this, negative 6 times 0 is 0. So that is eliminated, and we just end up with 8x equaling negative 24. In order to solve for x, we divide both sides by 8. And how many times will 8 go into negative 24? X will be equal to negative 3. The direction said, take the solution and plug it back into both equations. So remember how we write the solution? We write it like it's a point on a graph. So we have x is equal to negative 3, comma, y is equal to 0. So let's do the first one, 8. Instead of writing x, I'm going to put what x is equal to. 8x, or 8 times negative 3, minus 6 times 0, which is what y is equal to negative 24. Alright, so 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. Remember, we did this earlier. Negative 6 times 0 is 0. So we don't even have to write anything down. And we have negative 24 equal to negative 24. So that's correct. Let's plug it into the next one. It says plug the solution into both equations. So now we have a negative 8x. And what is x equal to? Negative 3. So we have negative 8 times negative 3 plus, what is y equal to? 0. Plus 0. And this says 24 is equal to positive 24. Okay? So what is negative 8 times negative 3? It's 24. And 24 plus 0 is still, look, 24. So we found the solution, we plugged it back into both equations, and so then our final answer, our final solution, using elimination is -3, 0. Do one more example. In this second set of equations, we have 7x plus y equals 6, and 10x plus y is equal to 12. If we're going to use elimination, we've got to eliminate one of the two variables, and it's always easier to eliminate a variable that is the same or has the same number in front of it. In this case, we have the same variable with 1y and 1y. Now, in the last case, we added, because we had a positive, negative. What are we going to have to do here to eliminate a y from another y? We're going to have to subtract. And remember, when we subtract 1, we have to subtract everything. So 7x minus 10x is -3x. Y minus y is 0. And so that will be equal to 6 minus 12, which is -6. Now we got to find for x. -3 divided on both sides. Okay, so x now will be equal to +2. Now we have to take what x is equal to in 2, and we're going to plug it back up into one of the equations now to find for y. So we're going to use the first one, and we're going to have 7 times x. We said that x was equal to 2. We're going to add a y because we're finding for y, and that's going to be equal to 6. So let's see what y is equal to. We have 14, which is 7 times 2 plus y, and that is equal to 6. Subtract 14 on both sides, and in this case we see that y is equal to -8. So we write our solution like we did before. We write the x number first. We have the 2, -8, just like a point on a graph. And the direction said, now take the solution and plug it back into both equations. So let's start with the first one. 7x. 7, x is equal to 2. Okay, plus y, which is -8. Equal to 6. So let's look here. 7 times 2, 14. Plus a -8 is the same as saying -8. Equal to 6. Is 14 minus 8 equal to 6? It is. So in this case, our solution of 2, -8 for equation number 1 is true. Let's do it for the second one. 10x. We said that x is equal to 2. We're going to put in the 2 in place of the x plus, this one's easy, plus y. We said y is -8. Equal to 12. Okay? 10 times 2, 20. We said plus -8 is the same as subtracting 8. How about this? Is 20 minus 8 equal to 12? It is. So we found that our solution using elimination for these two equations is 2, -8, and we proved that by plugging those back into both equations. So thank you very much for watching this video on solving equations by using elimination.